Our planet is, honestly, just a magnificent patchwork of countless different environments, each a unique and intricate world of its own. In these places, which we call ecosystems, plants and animals have lived together for thousands, sometimes even millions of years. They've developed this delicate balance, a complex dance of life where, each creature has a specific role to play. The hunter and the hunted, the flower and the pollinator, all exist in a state of natural harmony. This balance is really the result of a very long and slow process of evolution, creating stable communities where life can flourish in predictable and sustainable ways. It's a testament to nature's remarkable ability to create order and interdependence. But what happens when a stranger arrives? Imagine a guest turning up to a party uninvited, a guest who doesn't understand the rules and disrupts the careful arrangement. This is what we call an invasive species. It's an animal, or indeed a plant, that has been moved from its native home to a completely new place where it does not naturally belong. These newcomers aren't just tourists, they're settlers. They arrive in foreign lands, often without the natural checks and balances that kept them in line back in their original habitat, and they begin to change everything around them in profound and often damaging ways. Let us consider the seemingly harmless rabbit. In its native European grasslands, the rabbit is just one part of a complex food web. It's hunted by foxes, weasels, and birds of prey, which helps to keep its population from growing too large and overwhelming the landscape. This natural control system ensures that the rabbits do not consume all the vegetation, allowing other herbivores to find food and plants to regrow. It's a system that has worked for millennia, a perfect example of nature's self-regulation. The rabbit plays its part, but it's kept in check by the world around it, a world to which it is perfectly adapted. However, the story changes dramatically when humans transport these same rabbits to new continents, such as Australia. When English settlers brought them over in the 19th century, they were introduced into a world utterly unprepared for their arrival. Here, there were no familiar predators to hunt them, and the mild climate allowed them to breed all year round. The rabbits found themselves in a paradise with an endless supply of food and a distinct lack of danger. This seemingly innocent introduction set the stage for an ecological catastrophe, demonstrating just how a single species, freed from its natural constraints, can begin to unravel an entire ecosystem. The consequences of such an introduction can be, truly devastating for the native wildlife. In Australia, the exploding rabbit population began to compete directly with local herbivores, such as wallabies and wombats, for food. The rabbits were incredibly efficient grazers, capable of stripping vast areas of land bare of vegetation. They ate the grasses and small shrubs that native animals relied upon for survival, leaving little behind. This intense competition for resources meant that the local creatures, which were perfectly adapted to their environment before the rabbits arrived, suddenly found themselves struggling to find enough to eat in their own homes. The damage extends far beyond just eating the available food. The sheer number of these invasive animals can physically alter the landscape itself. The rabbits' constant burrowing caused widespread soil erosion, turning stable ground into loose, dusty earth that could be easily washed or blown away. This loss of topsoil made it incredibly difficult for native plants to regrow, further reducing the food supply and destroying the habitats of countless insects, reptiles, and small mammals. The intricate web of life, which depended on that specific soil and vegetation, began to collapse layer by layer, all because of one species running rampant. Another stark example is the cane toad, a native of South and Central America. It was deliberately introduced to Australia in the 1930s, with the hope that it would control beetles that were damaging sugarcane crops. However, the plan backfired spectacularly. The toads were not effective at controlling the beetles, but they proved to be extraordinarily successful at surviving and reproducing in their new environment. With poisonous glands on their skin, they are toxic to most animals that try to eat them, a defense mechanism that native Australian predators had never encountered before and had no way to counter. The arrival of the cane toad created a deadly trap for Australia's native predators. Snakes, lizards, quolls, and even crocodiles that tried to prey on these large, slow-moving amphibians were poisoned and killed. This had a catastrophic ripple effect through the food chain, decimating populations of native predators that had been a vital part of the ecosystem for eons. The cane toad did not just compete for resources, it actively poisoned the local inhabitants, showcasing another, more direct way that an invasive species can cause immense harm and disrupt the natural order of a fragile environment. The vast majority of invasive species do not spread across the globe on their own. Oceans, mountain ranges, and deserts are powerful natural barriers that have kept ecosystems separate for millions of years, allowing them to develop their unique characteristics. It's human activity that has, in a relatively short period, provided the transportation for these biological invasions. Sometimes the introduction is entirely accidental. A small creature, like a zebra mussel, can attach itself to the hull of a large cargo ship in one part of the world, and then be carried across the ocean, dislodging in a new port thousands of miles from its home. These accidental stowaways can also travel in other ways. Insects, seeds, or microscopic organisms can be hidden within crates of fruit, pallets of timber, or even in the soil attached to imported plants. Tourists might unknowingly carry seeds or insect eggs on their shoes or in their luggage as they travel from one country to another. This global trade and travel network, which connects every corner of our planet, has become a superhighway for invasive species. It allows them to bypass the natural barriers that would have once made such journeys completely impossible, creating unpredictable ecological challenges on a global scale. At other times, however, these introductions are entirely deliberate. People have often moved animals to new places with the best of intentions, believing they would be beneficial. As we saw with the cane toad in Australia, these biological control experiments can go terribly wrong. Similarly, people have introduced new fish species into lakes and rivers for recreational sport fishing, only to find that the newcomers outcompete or prey upon the native fish, sometimes driving them to extinction. These actions, though often well-meaning, are based on a profound misunderstanding of how complex and delicate ecosystems truly are. The desire for something familiar has also driven many introductions. Settlers moving to new lands have often brought plants and animals from their home countries to make their new environment feel more like the one they left behind. This is how species like the European starling were introduced to North America, where they now exist in enormous numbers, outcompeting native birds for nesting sites and food. What begins as an act of sentimentality can grow into a full-blown ecological problem, proving that even small personal choices can have enormous and long-lasting consequences for the natural world around us. One of the most significant problems with invasive species is that they often arrive without their natural enemies. In its original habitat, a species is controlled by a range of predators, diseases, and parasites that have evolved alongside it. These natural controls act as a brake, preventing any single species from becoming too dominant. When an animal is moved to a new environment, it leaves these controls behind. It's like a runner entering a race with no competitors. This freedom from predation allows the invasive species to multiply at an astonishing rate, overwhelming the new ecosystem with its sheer numbers. So, what can be done to help? The most effective action is prevention. We can all play a part in stopping the spread of these unwanted guests. When traveling, it's vital to clean our boots and equipment to remove any hidden seeds or soil before moving from one natural area to another. Pet owners have a crucial responsibility to never release unwanted pets, such as fish from an aquarium or pet reptiles, into the wild. A goldfish in a local pond might seem harmless, but it can disrupt the aquatic ecosystem and introduce diseases to native fish. Being mindful of these simple actions can make a great difference. Furthermore, we should be careful about what we plant in our gardens. Many popular garden plants are not native to the local area and can escape into the wild, where they can outcompete native plants for sunlight, water, and space. Choosing to plant native species instead not only prevents this risk, but also provides valuable food and shelter for local wildlife, such as birds and insects. Supporting local conservation efforts and learning about the invasive species in our own area are also powerful steps we can take to become better guardians of our environment and protect its natural integrity. Ultimately, protecting our native ecosystems is essential for the health of our planet and for our own well-being. These natural worlds are not just beautiful, they are complex living systems that provide us with clean air, fresh water, and a stable climate. They are the result of an ancient, unbroken chain of life. When an invasive species disrupts this balance, it is like removing a critical piece from a complicated machine. The machine may stutter and fail, and the services it provides may be lost forever. It is our responsibility to be thoughtful custodians of the natural world, to respect its ancient boundaries, and to ensure that its wonderful diversity can continue to thrive for all generations to come.